It's easy to feel beholden to a system that doesn't work and think that that's the only way things can happen.
That meeting point between what I really want and what the world is telling me, I think people are starting to see that divide a lot more.
Sometimes we don't need to change either the players, the ball, or the terrain, but it's around changing the rules.
Innovation is very critical in our development, but also we need to contextualize it, how it fit my context, how the global development fit my context. So we are part of the global world and there's reality, so we can't exist without it. But how is our coexistence is fair?
What would look like a brilliant idea now might become, a problem 20 years later. So I think it's also being responsible in terms of how we go about changing the rules.
Dreams without action and set goals are just dreams.
This Visioning Summit is part of an ongoing project, which is the second phase of a project we already completed, focused on youth and social justice futures in Eastern and Southern Africa.
When we say seeds, we're looking at initiatives that are sort of on the fringes at this stage. They're not mainstream yet, but they can be scaled up and they can have a huge impact in both Eastern and Southern Africa.
And we want to link them first and foremost to each other in order to build a stronger network of boundary-pushing thinkers and doers. But we also want to link them to a broader stakeholder group that can support their initiatives and that can also offer avenues for their growth and development, because we believe these seeds have innovations that would be beneficial for the futures we want to build for the long term.
Many of our participants spoke about a traumatic time in their past or a traumatic experience over time that really formed the response mechanism, or rather their initiatives or their work is as a response to that kind of trauma.
A lot of these change makers are burnt out and at a place where they have been really trying to make the difference that could be the difference. But they want to also become more human in how they're doing their change. And this becoming more human, shifting from human doing to human being was a large kind of theme that we saw straight from the first evening right through to today.
There was a sense of urgency around these themes and topics. People were really critical towards themselves and towards the ideas that were brought up and the themes that came up. They weren't really just interested in, creating a new Africa. They were actually interested in how is this going to work and how are we going to do it and what are the mechanisms of responsibility in taking action around that.
So we have two different aspects. So we have young entrepreneurs who have what we call seeds. So they come in with ideas and what projects they're working on and the impact they're making the communities. And then as a change maker, we kind of just help them rethink the processes of this kind of seed and what are some of the ways that actually they can be able to improve and make their ideas better.
Basically, the idea is to now try and help them curate sort of skills and abilities to respond to the current world and to build the futures that they maybe imagined and collaborate towards them.
These are technical tools that most people struggle to use, but the way it was being applied, it was simplified, really in a way that made people reflect on their experience, using the tool really to guide their thinking. So it was really nice. I enjoyed the group interaction. I enjoyed connecting with like-minded people, those that are doing amazing work out there.
We made sure that we had really interesting artists to engage with us, and they came in and were part of the exercises, they were part of the conversations, part of all the visioning exercises.
Because an artist is like water. You have brick and you have cement and you have all these things that are built by brilliant people with great minds and who are needed. And if we don't have them, our life will be more difficult. But then there comes a time when now we have to now feel it. That's where art comes. So an artist is that water that says, okay, cool, the brick is here, the cement is here, now let's put a structure together. And you mix it and you slowly create something that makes sense to the human being.
And we believe that the strategies and tactics that inform making these visions possible are created, are emergent from people connecting like this, from people coming together and investing and trusting and celebrating these visions, these idealistic yet completely graspable ways of seeing a new future.
My experience of this has been so affirming. The world is so challenging these days, so it's nice to hear positive stories. It's nice to hear especially African youth positive stories, how they are working to build, reform, and transform their communities.